All right, so our first review of the day is going to be for the Disney Plus animated series What If? This time season 2. So how much what did you think about season 1 of What If, the Chris and Black Stubs?
I really liked season one. It's funny. What if season one and Star Wars Visions came out at the same time, and people were comparing the two and how great both were in their own ways. Um, yeah, let me just quickly pull up season one. Starting off, I saw some complaints about this character today about like why is she suddenly everywhere? We don't care about her. Get rid of her. You find
Captain
out
Carter?
Captain Carter. What if season one starts with Captain Carter? Like it or not, this show does have connectivity with Supreme Doctor Strange and the Watcher being the narrator, and there is a through line, and it does feel as though, if you like it or not, Captain Carter is kind of the main character of this What If series. She's kind of the constant.
Mm.
Her story is kind of the one we're following, even though it is fun to witness all these scenarios and situations and characters who we don't usually see interact with each other. But from episode 1 of season 1 to the ending, where the Watcher collects all of our heroes from the Guardians of the Multiverse, to season 2, where it picks up where she and Widow are looking at the Hydra Stomper, kept by Shield, and Steve Rogers is still in it. Like, she's the main character. So I really liked season 1. I loved the T'Challa Star Lord. I loved Hank Pym taking revenge on the Avengers Initiative because Hope died at a mission. What if Doctor Strange lost his heart was fantastic. What if zombies is I think a classic thing in Marvel. The Killmonger one was great. Like I loved all of season 1. Yeah, so season 2 was again, for the most part, really great. I think 3 and 4 were my weakest episodes and most uninterested. But yeah, I think everything else in season 2 I absolutely loved. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Everything else I love, but episode 3 and 4 are kind of forgettable for me.
Okay. So in case people don't know, so What If is an kind of somewhat of an anthology series with the Marvel MCU characters, where you kind of see them different universes and different situations. What if this thing happened instead of this thing happened. Like, as Chris mentioned, like with the very first episode of the very first season, like Captain Carter, it's like, what if she ended up taking the super soldier serum and not Steve Rogers? So you see the adventures of Captain Peggy Carter there. In this second season, the first episode is what if Nebula, who Nebula is Thanos' daughter. You also saw her in the Guardians movies there. Played by Karen Gillan. What if she joined the Nova Corps? And that first episode is kind of almost like a Blade Runner type episode here on the planet here of Nova Prime, which was kind of somewhat cool. We'll get into all the episodes here, but like I said, it's kind of somewhat of an anthology here, detailing different situations and in the multiverse. And then you have Jeffrey Wright, who plays the Watcher, who's just narrating mostly everything and watching over, hence his name and all these things, kind of introducing you to the story and kind of what's going on. So we'll go through kind of the episodes, least favorite, most favorite. But like I mentioned, the Nebula, joined the Nova Corps. I mentioned Peter Quill, attacked Earth's mightiest heroes. Happy Hogan saved Christmas. What if Iron Man crashed into the Grand Master? Captain Carter fought the Hydra Stomper. Fury reshaped the world. Hela found the 10 rings. And what if the Avengers assembled in 1602? So it's usually 8 episodes. And this is already getting to season 3. They already released footage of like a early clip of episode of what's gonna happen in season 3. This is it right here. This is you have the Red Guardian, who's voiced by who's the character in the MCU is played by, what's his name? David Harbour.
David Harbour.
And then Sebastian Stan, who's the Winter Soldier, and then also you have Lawrence Fishburne here, who's the Goliath, who seems like maybe he's working for Shield at this point here. So yeah, that's kind of an early clip. So this has already been, I guess, greenlit for a third season already, and they already have the episodes kind of somewhat in motion already. So yeah, we'll go through the episodes. So Chris, what were your thoughts on season 2 of What If?
Season 2, I really liked it. Starting with episode 1, if Nebula joined the Nova Corps. Although it wasn't my favorite, you said it. The aesthetics is very Blade Runner, very cyberpunk. It's Nova Corps, but not the same. Like it's Xandar, right? Like, but just not as bright and pretty and blue sky as we see in the first Guardians, Volume 1. It's dark, rainy. There's smoke everywhere and a lot of neon lights, and the cop cars, they literally take off like the Blade Runner cars, like with the steam, with the smoke blowing up first, and then like the way it hovers up. It's literally like verbatim, like inspired by Blade Runner. And it's a noir kind of style because spoiler, are we doing spoilers? Like, are we talking about like in depth?
Yeah, we could do spoilers.
She's sent on a mission by the Nova. I forget her name, but Glenn Close's character from Guardians sends her on a mission to find out, something going on, and it's a trap. And she has and Nebula, it's one of those things where this person who you once looked up to, you now have to take them down because they're corrupt. And that was cool to see, and Nebula is always a cool character to do that with. Because of her own personal growth in the live action movies, becoming a stone cold killing machine, and her arc of gaining her humanity and becoming a person again. That was really cool. So, but episode 1, it wasn't my favorite, but I was more of a fan of the noir style and the Blade Runner aesthetics than anything else. Episode 2 was one of my favorites. I called it Avengers 1988. It's what if Yondu didn't have a change of heart and he just picked up Peter Quill and gave him the ego, a younger version of himself could immediately go into his mission with his seedlings and like carrying out the expansion. But Peter Quill is still a good kid who has all of his mom's morals, and he tells the Guardians, who composes of King T'Chaka, which is really cool to see, still voiced by the same actor in Black Panther, Atandwa Kani, I think his name is.
I believe that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. He's great, and it's the same kind of 2016 suit, but he keeps his sash, like his traditional African garb on him.
Actor right here.
Yep. Oh wow, I'm proud of myself. Yeah, Todd McConney.
Yeah, I like the sash. I wish. Yeah, I kind of like the sash. You know what I mean? I don't know. I wish the modern Black Panther kind of came.
Yeah. So it's him. It's once again Goliath, who's first referenced in 2018's Ant-Man and the Wasp, Lawrence Fishburne's character, but younger because it's 1988. Hank Pym, and they're still comparing sizes for whatever reason. Who else is part of the team?
You also have Annette Bening, who's like
Annette Bening from Captain Marvel, Marvel, and even though they're not combatants, we do have Peggy Carter without the serum, and we have Howard Stark, who is still he's kind of the guy in the chair, and so it's kind of funny that the Avengers 1988 still has a Stark on the team, even though he's not in armor and he's not fighting. Am I missing anyone else from the team? But it was a cool story, and also of course we have a younger Hope Van Dyne, and she has a little chemistry with a young Peter Quill. It's a cool what if they ended up being a thing, like
and Thor also.
Yes, yeah, thank you. Thor joins the fray as well, and it was just a really fun what if episode, a really fun scenario. It was cool to see Ego on Earth doing his crazy celestial powers against King T'Chaka and Goliath, and Hank Pym and Thor, and I didn't like that Hope let Peter free because he is very dangerous, and also Bucky, the Winter
Oh
Soldier,
yeah, he
he was
comes in.
there, and it was a really cool moment where he had a side mission with I guess the Soviets because it's the 80s. Um, uh, and they're telling him to take the shot to take out the kid, but Howard Stark intercepts the phone call and says, Steve Rogers wouldn't have taken that shot, and he wouldn't want you to take that shot, and like he snaps Bucky out of it. It was a really cool, what if moment. So yeah, episode 2 is one of my favorites. Episode 3, I didn't care for it. What if Happy gets powers and saves Christmas?
Yeah,
He
Happy
turns
Hogan saved Chris. It's like
yeah
their Die Hard episode, basically.
yeah
Yeah,
he gets like purple Hulk powers. He turns like kind of misshapen, bulky, purple, veiny neck. I'm like, all right, this is I didn't care for that one. And then again, episode 4 here was supposed to be in season 1. This is the Gamora episode that the Watcher takes her from and makes her a guardian of the multiverse.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
but for some reason, this episode didn't make it into season 1, so we're getting it now. What if Iron Man in 2012 didn't come back from the wormhole after throwing the nuke at Thanos' army? Cool what if premise, but personally I've never been invested in Tony Stark um or Iron Man. Like I like him playing on a team, which he kind of isn't here, but still I'm just not invested in his personality bouncing off of the Grandmaster, voiced by Jeff Goldblum. That was awesome. It's just I didn't care for it. I really didn't care for it.
It's Super Smash Bros. MCU, I
Yeah,
guess. I don't know.
the only thing I did like, Iron Man and Gamora bonding over their troubled relationships with their fathers, and like that being Tony's connection to Gamora and stopping her out of being Thanos's like executioner
Mm.
and living for herself and breaking free from those chains. So that was it. Besides that, I didn't care for episode 4. Episode 5, another one of my favorites because it goes back to Captain Carter kind of being, her story is kind of being a through line in What If. This is kind of her own Winter Soldier kind of story because here Bucky grows old, and it's cool to see. Even though it's an animation, it's still a really cool What If. Bucky is the one who survives and grows old. He's Secretary of State, and Steve is the one who's kind of like the old friend, the old loved one who's lost in time. And when he comes back, it's not Hydra who has him; it's the Red Room, who we meet in the Black Widow movie. It's the Legion of Black Widows, and where these women are trained, abducted, and like I don't know if they're abducted. They kind of are. Like they're
Yeah,
taken from their lives and they're forced to do this. So yeah, um, that it was a really cool story, and I like where it ends with her falling through the portal, and that her stories keep they kind of snowball into other stories, which is why I feel like she's kind of the main character of What If, because only her stories are the ones that snowball into like she has an arc. So yeah, episode 5 was great. Episode 6, when that dropped, everyone on Twitter was talking about it. Devery Jacobs from Reservation Dogs comes in, and she's the voice of Cohorty, who is indigenous to the Mohawk people. And yeah, the What If is um, uh,
what if Asgard got destroyed and then the
yeah,
Tesseract fell to Earth and then it fell to back
yeah,
then?
and the Tesseract falls into Mohawk Nation. It floats to the bottom of a lake and opens a portal. And when you go through, because inside the Tesseract is the Space Stone, and the Space Stone opens portals and it does many things. You fall through, and it's the same tribe, but the ancestors and people who got lost in the lake end up living down here. They can't make it back, but the Tesseract has given them powers. they can jump higher, run faster. They're physically stronger, um, and that was fantastic. And long story short, um, Cohorty, voiced by Devery Jacobs, and Devery Jacobs, I believe, is also part of the Mohawk tribe. They got to speak their own language. I don't. I'm not going to say the language because I can't pronounce it, but it's really great. And if you go to my TikTok and see my reviews, I'm always championing for indigenous stories and indigenous representation. So Cohorty getting the powers and making it back to her people to save them from Spanish conquistadors was fantastic. I love that she was able to use her powers to shun away the ships, blow up the ships, take out these colonizers, these oppressors, and just eradicate them. It was an awesome story. So yeah, episode 6 is definitely one of my favorites, and I'm glad people were so buzzed about it.
Yeah.
I saw on the search, a lot of people immediately were like, "Oh, Amber Midthunder, like get her to be the live action." I'm like, yeah, for sure. But if you watch Reservation Dogs, Devery Jacobs could do this. I'm not saying
Yeah.
like it's an action role, but like she's young enough, and she also looks the part. She's also indigenous, and she already speaks the language. Like I love Amber Midthunder, and I want her in more things, of course.
Mm.
But if they do ever go a live action Cohorty, I think Devery Jacobs should do it.
Yeah.
Um,
And this is her right here, and she does a great job in Reservation Dogs.
yeah, she
Eh,
plays Aurora in Reservation Dogs.
yeah. And yeah, in Lauren Reservation Dogs, and it's kind of crazy because before I looked up her age when I was watching the show, I thought she was like the same age about as them, but she's actually much older than most of the people. 'Cause she's 30 right now. Um,
Yeah, she's the oldest member of the cast. Yeah, of the 4 kids. Yeah,
but she kind of looks still teenager. She kind of looks still teenage age.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
oh, okay. But yeah, I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't get her. I mean, do you think? Because I asked this question on Twitter as well. It's like, do you think like, this character of Kahori, do you think it'll turn into a Harley Quinn type situation, like from her with the animated series? Because she was another character that was created purposely for the animated series. Kahori is another. She's the first MCU original character that they have there created for What If. Do you think it's a possibility we're going to see her in other media like comics or video games, movies, other shows? Do you think that's a possibility?
Yeah, I saw your tweet and I do think so. Purely based on the reaction when this episode dropped, because season 2 of What If dropped daily, like every day they dropped an episode, and when episode 6 dropped, it was trending. It was the only thing on my feed, and I was like, this is fantastic. So there's definitely an audience for it. I think there's a hunger and demand for it, and yeah, bring her in. The space tone out of all the Infinity Stones be giving out powers, man, and it gives you the space tone gives you like all the powers, like just like Captain Marvel. Kahori can, I think she can fly. Like she was hovering and like taking on Wanda midair. Um,
Uh,
she has projectiles.
Super
She's
speed.
super speed. I think she has a super strength. Like she can open portals. She can do a lot of things with her powers. So yeah, this is her debut. She's out from the comics, and it'd be awesome to see her in live action, in comics, in video games, novels, all that. So episode 6 was definitely one of my favorites. Episode 7 was also very special. Yeah, right there, right there. Hela and Wenwu, that team up. What if Hela was treated the way Thor was treated in the first Thor movie, where her bloodlust is her problem, and she has no respect for life as the goddess of death, and Odin casts her out. He takes her helmet, takes her her title, and casts her out. She has no powers, and she lands somewhere in like in Asia, where Wenwu in the Ten Rings army is they're just uh,
Conquering.
conquering. They're in the middle of their conquest, and she has no powers. But eventually, they again, long story short, they team up, Hela and Wenwu, and as we see in the movie Shang-Chi, Wenwu likes it when he meets a woman who he can't beat in a fight. Like it kind of turns him on. Like
Yeah.
because no one can beat him. Like he's used to winning, and like when he meets a woman who he can't beat, he's like, I like you. Like I want to like I want you around. Um, uh, that team up, and she goes to Ta Lo, and she learns the mystical martial arts that Shang-Chi learns about, like balancing and like using like the wind power and all that stuff. Um, when they team up against Odin, it was really cool, especially when Wu versus Odin, because they both have those powerful dad kind of positions.
Mm.
Um, it was interesting matchup, but as the show played out, Odin is still an all father. He's still a god, and
Mm.
Wenwu is just a man whose life has been preserved by the power of these rings. So it would be Odin in the end, but it was a cool fight to see. Um, uh, it was also really cool to see Hela gain a sense of empathy and a appreciation for life. She gets her helmet back and becomes Hela the White, and she becomes powerful enough to vanquish Odin, who
Do you think that's a callback to when she was in Lord of the Rings, Kate Blanchett?
definitely. I didn't even I didn't even make that connection. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, but whenever a character comes back as the White, like in Ahsoka or here, it's always a Lord of the Rings reference. It feels like. Um, so yeah, Hela and Wenwu working together to fight Odin. That was an amazing. As far as what if premises go, that was something I never would have thought of, and I loved it. So yeah, that was one of my favorites. Episode 8, Avengers 1602. Uh, this is a continuation of Peggy Carter, episode 5. The episode ends. She falls through a portal, and she's in 1602. And it's really cool to see uh, Loki, Thor, and Hela as royal siblings, be siblings, not fighting each other, but just getting along. Uh, um, I forget what was happening. Like it was
There was like rips in space, and it was
yeah,
it was like the universe. One universe was bleeding into their universe, so it was kind of
yeah,
destroying everything. So they were trying
yeah,
to. Wanda, as the witch of this pre kind of 1602 universe, was trying to pull people, heroes that could help them fight and help them, yeah, with these rips in the universe there.
yeah, and like with that, it's so funny. Like the final shot of this season, uh, the way What If and Loki are really holding down the multiverse thing in Phase 5, like the whole multiverse saga, is in the way other movies and shows kind of haven't, is kind of astounding. But yeah, in 1602, um, uh, there's rifts in space, and Captain Marvel's there, and she meets another Steve Rogers, who's like Rogers Hood, and he's on a team with Ant-Man and Bucky, and uh, Thor is kind of like it's kind of the greedy king kind of
Mm.
character. They do lose Hela to the rift in space, so he's like not happy about that, and like swears to like avenge her. Um,
And it
and
seems like Loki is just like a kind of not a jester, but he's just like an actor. He's just like a plain
yeah,
actor. Yeah.
because he's the youngest sibling, so Thor and Hela are like on the throne, kind of watching their little brother do his thing. Like he's the youngest. Let him have his fun. Let him do his thing. Uh, uh, so uh, so there was that, and I'm trying to remember. Like I liked for some reason I'm drawing a blank on 1602. But I do know. Um, Again, it bleeds into the episode ends with Doctor Strange saying, "I need your help," and that brings us to episode 9. I'm not sure why. I remember I liked episode Avengers 1602, but I'm drawing a blank on like all the details. Another Steve Rogers shows up, and he's from Infinity War.
Yeah.
He's like all green because in that universe, not in our Infinity War movie, but in his universe, he punched during the Battle of Wakanda. He when he was like 1v1 with Thanos, he punched the time stone out of the gauntlet,
Mm.
and that's how he kind of became what did Thor call him? Like it's the hero of time. It's the he called him something
Uh,
like he
I
had a
forgot
name.
exactly what he called him, yeah, but he
Yeah,
kinda
but
just shows up like this apparition kinda
yeah,
situation where he just
and
showed up, yeah.
and Thor is like, oh, it's him, the person like we're looking for. It's the guy. Um, it's the guy. But uh, yeah, I like that both Peggy Carter and Doctor Strange have this shared trauma of never making it with their loved one in any universe. Like it's so rare. Doctor Strange, it's never. And with Peggy, there's like this in only certain circumstances does she ever get to end up with Steve Rogers. But for mostly every other story, they don't make it. So it was cool to see that in Avengers 1602. But again, episode 9, uh, Supreme, Doctor Strange, Dark Doctor Strange, whatever we're calling him, he's still corrupt, and he's still trying to get back what he lost. Christine and his universe, which he lost by causing incursions, by just absorbing dark energy, dark magic, dark matter, and just he did what Miguel O'Hara did in Spider-Man Across Spider-Verse. He broke the canon so many times, his world fell apart. Just like, okay, we can't keep doing this. Stop trying to bring Christine back. You're breaking the fabric of time, and that's what happened. Um, in episode 9 of season 2, he is he goes to 1602, asks Peggy Carter for help. There's a villain I need your help to capture. He's lying, of course. That villain is Kahori, and she tells, and now speaking English and Debbie Jacobs' English voice, um, she's telling Captain Carter he's lying. He's collecting both universe killers and great heroes in order to, and he's feeding them to a forge to create like their sacrifice is going to help him create his universe again. So that's what he was actually doing, and so their team up, Captain Carter and Kahori, was again a really cool what if scenario, and a lot of people again on Twitter were comparing it to, man, this is what Secret Wars could look like, because when Captain Carter throws her shield and lets out all these characters, we get all these crazy what if scenarios. Surtur comes out of nowhere, Hela comes out of nowhere, Thanos comes out of nowhere, and
Killmonger,
Killmonger
Infinity
comes out of nowhere, uh, and Kahori like does a crazy trick and like sucks him out of his suit and sends him away. I was like, bro, this woman is powerful. Like, dang, like this is all from the Space Stone. Captain Carter puts on his armor and gets the Infinity Stones, and they go back to face off against the corrupt Doctor Strange, who is just, he is so powerful, man. He can go toe to toe with someone with he can fight someone who has all the Infinity Stones plus Kahori's like already amazing power. And I get it. Back in his episode, he absorbed a lot of different abilities, different types of forbidden magic, but like, man, the way he was holding his own against Captain Carter, who had all the stones, was crazy. But he opened the portals, started feeding the characters to the Forge. Kahori tried to use her own portals to save them, but she couldn't save all of them. And on their way down, Hela throws her helmet. Thor throws Mjolnir. Wen Wu throws the rings, and like people were complaining about like all the different weapons being used all at once, but like that's how it oftentimes works in these kind of stories. Like you take all the great weapons, you put them together, and you become like a greater whole. Like I don't understand.
I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty exciting because it's like, yeah, all these weapons. Thor, I think even another Thor. Didn't he throw his sword from the 1602 episode?
Yeah, yeah. There was a Thor that was like kind of monstrous, and but he was still a Thor, and he had like a really crazy like Excalibur green looking thing.
Yeah.
I thought it was really cool because Kahori picks up Mjolnir because she's worthy, obviously, and she puts all the 10 rings on one arm, and like again, like the combinations with all these weapons was really cool. And in the end, it's kind of bittersweet and kind of uh, full circle. Stephen Strange succeeds in what he wanted to do. His world, Christine comes back, and they do live on, but it's at the cost of his own life because he himself, I believe, ends up being fed to the Forge, and it was he was the last sacrifice and the last person to go in before everything kind of uh, went back. So and then we go back to the Watcher who says I returned Cohorty to her time, and he brings Captain Carter back, and yeah, man, season 2 was amazing, and I think because of that, it's people can be upset about it, but Captain Carter is the one. She feels, at least to me, she feels like the main character of the show.
Yeah. How's it going, Ninja? Good to see you, man. Glad for you to be here. So yeah, with this season two, is it an improvement over season one? I think in some ways it is. I think it does some other things better here. I think the animation is a little sharper in the season two. I think the action scenes are better. I think some of the stories, they play around a little bit more with the what if concept. I
Yeah,
still do think it's just gonna be limited to characters that we already mostly know, as far as the what ifs, because they have to stay within the MCU. It's not like you can't do, what if about characters we haven't seen yet. So the chance of like you have to wait till the X-Men come into the MCU officially for we can see like an X-Men what if story and then a Fantastic Four what if story and so on and so forth. So I think that kind of limits things somewhat. Um, when you talk about some of kind of I think the best episodes here, yeah, I think the Kahori episode. I mean, it's nice to see in a fresh, original character in something. I think that's good. That's nice. And all the stuff that she could do. Again, Devery Jacobs, as Gory, got somebody actually indigenous, got somebody who's actually part of the people that are in the show. That's the character is from, which is really good. I also would say Hella, she found the 10 rings. Uh, and then Kate Blanchett, that was her. That was her voice. She did return as Hella. That was pretty good. I like that with Win Wu. They kind of pair up pretty well because both are kind of warmongering type people. Like he was all about conquering, she was all about conquering. So they kind of matched personality wise. So that was kind of something fun there. I do think with the length of these episodes, it is like okay, we have to get to this pretty fast. Like they don't do like 40 minutes even. It's like okay, we got to get to this pretty. So Hella having a like she kind of goes, does the training, then has a childhood trauma revelation moment where she goes to therapy, and then okay, oh well, I get it. Like that's the reason I've been doing this whole time for thousands of years. This is the reason I wanted to do this, kill millions and millions of people. Um, and that's what I did. But I think the action sequences are pretty good. They're pretty solid in this. Like the Odin Hela and when Wu fight I thought was pretty good. I thought when the final battle, Kiori and Captain Carter kind of comes in and they fight Sorcerer Supreme. When it comes to, uh, I think Captain Carter, because a lot of people saying like Captain Carter's like, who said that we wanted Captain Carter? It's like because like you said, she seems like she is the main figure of this show. Like she's kind of the lead of this anthology show. That
yeah,
she's the through line between really all these things.
yeah,
And Haley Atwell, I like Haley Atwell a lot. I was one of the 50 people that watched the Agent Carter show when it was on the air on ABC. I was one of those people. I'm still rooting for if they can come back with a season 3. But yeah, so it seems like I don't have an issue with Agent Carter. I didn't, yeah, but it seems like, and then even the where this season 2 leads off on, it seems like she is going to be a thing where maybe her and the Watcher are going to go around like he's gonna put her in all these different places where she can kind of interact with some maybe other characters in other universes and kind of play around there. Truly be like this soldier at a time who's all at a time in all these other different places.
Yeah.
Um, but I do agree with you. I think the Happy Hogan episode, the Die Hard type episode, I think maybe was. It was maybe the weakest. It was like Sam Rockwell was the Hans Gruber character. I never really liked what they did with Justin Hammer. That character. Even though I love Sam Rockwell. I think he's a
He's
terrific
funny.
actor.
He's funny.
I just wish I don't know. I wish they would have done something better with him.
Yeah.
You have Kat Dennings who's back as Darcy, who's in it as well. Maria Hill who's in this, and then you have kind of the Avengers who kind of come in towards the end here. Yeah, I thought that was. What else episode did you think was pretty weak?
Just to go back really quick, that is, I forgot to mention. You said it. The final shot. When the day is saved, Captain Carter is like, "Don't take me back yet. Like I want to see some more." And he takes her to Yggdrasil, like Loki's new magical loom that's holding all the timelines together. Like that was really really cool, and
That's what that was.
yeah,
Okay.
it's moments like that that make you feel like maybe there still is a plan for the MCU Phase 5 going forward, because as of right now, characters haven't met yet. We don't know how we're leading into the next Avengers movie, but like I said, Loki and What If is really holding it down, the whole multiverse saga thing, and that really just kind of it felt like it was capitalizing, and I loved it. But yeah, going back to your question, yeah, season 2.
And
I
this was it right here.
yeah
Without all the Christmas decoration, they kind of added that for the trailer.
yeah. So yeah, it's Loki is a Norse god, and in Norse mythology, Yggdrasil is the world tree that all the worlds hang on the branches of this tree. So like, if the temporal loom is a failsafe and it's only designed to hold the sacred timeline, and that's it. It will delete any branches that break off. Then Loki will make a new formula, a new loom, and what better way to accommodate all these infinite expanding branches than to create a loom that's in the form of a tree that has both roots and branches that can grow as much as you need them to. Like it was really like it was really really brilliant storytelling. But yeah, going back to your question, even though I think season 1 I liked every single episode for different reasons, like different all the what ifs. Season 2, even though 2 episodes were weak for me, the holiday episode and Iron Man meets Gamora and like the racing episode was weak for me.
Mm-hmm.
The other 7 stories, there were more bold what if stories. Like there were bigger swings compared to season 1, and characters who we really wouldn't expect to meet or interact with did, and it felt even more special, and it felt even more what if than season 1.
Yeah. I think so that did there. Do you ever feel kind of with these episodes, as I mentioned, like they're kind of trapped within the MCU? Do you ever feel like that watching this? Like you wish they could, maybe go bigger with some of the what if ideas in terms of like not being so like they have to do the MCU characters. Like I already see so much of these characters. I've already seen so much already, especially with like Tony Stark and Thor and Captain America
Yeah.
variations. What do you think about that?
Well, they are. Yeah, it still does feel, even with characters like Kahori and uh, um, who is it? T'Chaka and Goliath. There's still other characters who we've met. Like I would love a a what if with Namor, Moon Knight, Kamala Khan, like America Chavez. Like there's still characters in the MCU we haven't had what if, we haven't played what if yet with. But yes, it would be really cool if we could get X-Men or Fantastic Four along here. Also, there was not a single one this season with Spider-Man. Season one
Oh,
had one Spider-Man, the zombie episode,
oh yeah, yeah. I did.
and
Yeah, that's a good
and
thing.
they I don't think it was Tom Holland. Maybe it was, but
No, it wasn't.
yeah. But they do get talented voice actors who can kind of do the voice, because that is not Robert Downey Jr. doing
Tony Stark.
Tony Stark,
Mick
but
Wignert is doing Tony Stark in this.
yeah, it's a really talented voice actor to like kind of emulate that. Even I can't do like that Robert Downey Jr. kind of SoCal kind of voice. Okay, here's the deal, Spider-Man. He's very kind of quippy and yeah. Is that him?
Yep.
Yeah, talented guy. He does a great job. But yeah, not a single one episode season 2 even gave us a Spider-Man or Hope Van Dyne, Janet Van Dyne. Like there's still a lot of characters. I guess that could be a critique of season 2. We got a lot of Bucky this season. We got a lot of Thor. Again, I get it. We like Thor. Doctor Strange, that's different because like Captain Carter, he's kind of been a through line.
And he only shows up in like the last 2 episodes anyway.
Yeah, because in season 1 he gets his own episode. What if instead of losing his hands, Doctor Strange loses his heart, and then he comes back in the end of season 1, and then here he comes back at the end of season 5 to recruit. Sorry, the end of season 8 to recruit. Like you said, it comes in at the end to recruit Captain Carter, and then it's only in the last episode is he revealed to be kind of the antagonist of this season, because last season it was what if Ultron won, and that man went on tour and just destroyed everything like a virus. It wasn't until the end of season 2 where it was revealed that it was Doctor Strange is kind of that character now. But yeah, a lot of Happy too. Like Happy got his own episode, and then in 1602 he's like this annoying. He kept talking like
he just kept talking. He said, "Damn!" He just kept talking. Damn, man.
I don't know what else to say. Like, shut up. Like, we're not here for you. Like, you're a fun side character, but they gave you too much dialogue here. I felt the same way. I remember when I first started watching The Clone Wars, I was like, this is great, but the Federation battle droids, the Roger Rogers, they have too much dialogue. They're talking way too much, and this is annoying. Like, they're not cute. They're not funny. Like, Dave Filoni, why are you letting them, these dumb droids that Jedi cut through like butter, talk so much? Like, nah. Like, I'm invested in the clones. I don't care about these battle droids. That's how I felt about Happy in 16.
And it's Jon Favreau who is coming back. He did voice Happy.
Jon Favreau he will gladly come back. It's funny because some actors like Sebastian Stan came back for the voice. Chris Hemsworth always comes back for the voice. Haley Atwell came back for the voice. Who else?
Tom Hiddleston came back as Loki.
Tom Hiddleston loves it. Oh my goodness. You can tell watching What If. Tom Hiddleston is having fun in that booth playing these different kinds of Lokis. What's up? Paul Rudd is voicing Ant-Man. Who
Jeff
else?
Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum.
Tessa Thompson.
Kate Blanchett. Cumberbatch. They're all, like, a lot of them come back, are reprising their roles. But it's still a valid complaint for season 2. A little too familiar with the characters. Let's spread out a bit more. Let's play with let's use Moon Knight. Let's use Namor. Let's use Kate Bishop. Let's use some of our new Phase 4 She-Hulk. Let's use, wasn't
Yeah.
She-Hulk in the trailer for season 2 of the
Uh,
show? I might be tripping, but
I don't
um,
think she was.
maybe she wasn't. Maybe I'm making that up. But just like, yeah, let's revisit Phase 4 and Phase 5 so far, and let's let's bring in let's do an animated Kang the Conqueror kind of thing. Let's
Yeah.
do
What if King the Conqueror never dated white women? Let's do that.
Oh my god.
Let's do an episode about that.
Oh my goodness, that'd be hilarious. Who was the bad guy? The High Evolutionary in
Oh,
Guardians Volume 3. Let's do something with there's a lot of characters we haven't, like, I know we're all eager for X-Men and Fantastic Four, but what if season 2, even though they took bold swings and had really fun scenarios, there's a lot of characters they could have played with this season, and instead we got a lot of Thor, a lot of Happy, a lot of Bucky.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Um,
that's the main criticism with season 2.
yeah. And then I think, well, depending on like when this first got into production, because you also have to think because Guardians came out just this year, so it was already
Fair. Yeah, that's fair.
wrapped and done. So you couldn't. But like, I think Kane, you probably could have done Kane because he was already, I think, pretty much out when they were probably in
Yeah,
production.
yeah,
Maybe. So certain characters I know that maybe you couldn't have done due to like they probably already done and wrapped the
that's
episode.
fair. That's fair. But like Namor, Moon Knight, you could have used them with something.
Yeah. So I just spread it out. I mean, I like Lawrence Fishburne as Goliath coming and him being in episodes to expand on him some more. I'm trying to think of like other side characters that we got kind of introduced to a little bit. Yeah, maybe Janet Van Dyne, like maybe see her superhero days. With him and with her and Hank, that would have been kind of cool there. Because I think
Yeah,
in this, like when they did the whole 1988, I think it was like him and Janet just got a divorce. Was it?
yeah, something like that. Yeah,
Okay, they just got divorced, yeah. So yeah, more kind of stuff like that. Like just because I'm, again, the same get like Iron Man and Tony Stark and Thor, and it's like, okay, y'all cool, but I want to see some other people now. I
yeah,
mean, y'all had your time, yeah, like time to step
yeah.
aside now. Um,
Because even Janet Van Dyne in the comics, the Wasp is a founding member of the Avengers. That'd be cool to see in What If.
yeah,
Like,
that'd be
what
kind
if,
of cool.
yeah.
And yeah, it was strange. Also, is you bring it up, the no Spider Man, no Spider Man this
No,
season.
no Spider-Man at all. And let's go back to last year, Multiverse of Madness. No Maria Rambo's Captain Marvel.
Oh
You
yeah,
could
you could have used her too. Yeah, you could have used Maria Rambo's Captain.
could have used her. Like, we're getting a lot of Peggy Carter. I'm not complaining about that, but like, Peggy Carter was treated terribly in Multiverse of Madness. Like, Haley, they wasted Haley Atwell's time there. Like, they brought her on just to cut her in half. Like,
Yeah, I think
give
did she complain about that? Didn't she?
she wasn't. Yeah, she was open about she was not overly thrilled about her return in that way. Like, she wanted to do more than just die.
Like, hey, you had me on screen for two,
Yeah,
and then just cut me in half. Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah. Um. So what would be your rating for season 2 of What If?
Tune in all the way. Tune in. Just, even with those criticisms, even with 3 and 4 being weak for me, if you like Iron Man, you'll like episode 4. If you this Gamora doesn't feel like the Zoe Saldana Gamora with like
Her voice at it.
yeah, the
Everybody is
voice
way off. I
way
feel.
off. That's what it is. That's what it is. You don't sound like Gamora. You know what I mean? And Zoe Saldana has somewhat of a distinctive voice. Like, her voice if you hear it, I feel. And this Gamora does not sound like her. So that's exactly what it is. Yeah, 3 and 4 for me are the weakest ones, but these are 7 out of 9 solid, like really great what if scenarios, all of them. Like, I really enjoyed.
How would you rank them from like best to worst?
Best to worst. Man, oh man. Okay. Either I am either putting this is tough. Okay, just because I am I got a champion for it. I'm gonna put Devery Jacobs episode 6 Kahori at number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Below that, I will put because I wrote them down. Haha. I will put Hela and Wenwu in the 10 Rings at number 2 because I loved that what if matchup and like their chemistry and how much Wenwu was like, I like this girl, like you're my kind of woman.
And the
And
actor
then,
for Wenwu, he didn't come back. That was a different guy, but he
yeah,
sounded
they're not gonna get Tony Leung in the booth to do this, man. This man is like he came, did his thing for the American audiences, and he went back home. Like he's chilling. So yeah, Wenwu is number 2, and then number 3, I'll put Avengers 1988. I just loved I loved King T'Chaka and Goliath, Hank Pym, and a young Peter Quill, young Hope Van Dyne. I loved everything about that. So that's definitely number 3. I'll put the finale, episode 9, number 4. I liked it, especially we have Captain Carter using the Power Stone to do a purple energy blast, and Kahori has a blue energy blast, and they're both targeting Doctor Strange, who's like using his barriers to hold it. Like, it's visually and aesthetically, it's very cinematic, very engaging. Like, it's a real finale. So that's number 4. Below that, I will put Captain Carter's Winter Soldier episode with Old Man Bucky at number 5. And then I will do Avengers 1602 below there. And then after that, I will do What If Nebula joined Nova, and then Iron Man meets Gamora, and then Happy gets powers. I think that's how I'd rank it from best to worst.
okay.
Yeah.
So at the bottom, yeah, I think I'd go Happy episode. Then I would go the racing episode. Then I would go. What would be after that? I'd go the Winter Soldier episode. Probably after that one. Then I would do. What if Nebula? I would do Nebula join the Nova Corps. Then I would do 1602. Hela found the 10 Rings.
Yeah.
Strange Supreme intervene, and then Kahori reshape the world. I think I'd go number 1. That's how I would kind of do it.
What about Avengers 1988?
Oh, 1988. Oh, that one. I'd place. Well, let me see. I guess if I have Kahori number 1, Strange Supreme intervened number 2, and then Hela found 10 Rings. I'd go number 4. I put
Yeah. It's a really good one.
Yeah, that's a solid one there. That kind of match up there with everybody. Yeah. Who else was like a past hero that they could kind of draw from to be a part of that team? I'm trying to think of who else.
If they want to go deep cut, like in season 1, the zombie episode, they brought back Peggy's niece, Sharon Carter.
Oh, okay.
You could, who's the power broker? They could bring her back because she was in the zombie episode, and they could bring back Quicksilver if they wanted to. Are they allowed to?
Oh yeah, that's true. I mean, if they bring back Wanda, I don't see why they couldn't bring back Quicksilver.
Yeah.
At first, when Kahori showed up in like that episode, I thought that was Quicksilver at first. I was like, oh, is that Quicksilver? I was like, oh, it's Kahori.
Yeah, me too. I was like, oh, Quicksilver. Okay, that's what's up. Like, haven't seen him in a while, but I was like, oh no, Kahori. Oh, I forgot. Kahori can do everything. Like, she has every base level superpower, but like she has all of them. She's like so well rounded.
Yeah, and then
America Chavez, like if we're talking multiverse, she punches holes in space and time. I actually had someone tweeted out. I think there was a Marvel account that tweeted like, what do you want to see in season 3? And what did I say? I said one of them. Well, I can do all of them. It's just 3. What if King T'Chaka brought his nephew back home after killing Prince Njobu?
Okay, that's a good one.
What if Kamala Khan and America Chavez swap powers, meaning Kamala Khan can now punch holes in space and time? She could punch a hole to the Nor dimension where the clandestines and whatever where they come from.
That's a good one.
And then this one, what if Namor's mother's home, Yucatan Mayan Peninsula, was never colonized, and like Namor was born on land, still a mutant, but like they never colonized, and Talokan was like Wakanda, above land, like on land, but remained hidden because like they have vibranium technology to help them stay hidden.
Yeah,
Like
you do. What if Wakanda? What if Talo joined forces? Yeah, you could do that.
yeah, what if they work together?
What if they joined forces, scared the fuck out of white people? You know.
Yeah, the way it could have happened. What is just to shout them out because they had a bunch of cool ones. At Silly Wacky Boy.
Okay.
What if Thanos invaded New York instead of Loki in 2012? Like Thanos versus just the original 6 Avengers. Like, could they do it? Thanos, his army, no Infinity Stones, just him and the original 6 Avengers. Could they do it? Maybe. What if Wenwu saved his wife? What if Shang-Chi's mom didn't die? That's a good one. What if Pietro didn't die in Age of Ultron?
Mm-hmm.
What if Iron Man fought the real Wenwu in the Ten Rings in back in 2008?
What if the other half blipped?
Yeah, you found it. Yeah.
What if Moon Knight encountered the God Butcher? That's crazy.
That's a Gore.
Yeah. What if Gore
Yeah,
actually killed Thor and killed all the gods?
That was last year. I think they could have they had time to do Gore if they wanted to. A wasted villain.
What if the Winter Soldier killed Petticoat? Like
Yeah.
I mean, wasn't she already an old woman by the time? I guess. Yeah. I guess. What if he killed her as an old woman, and then Steve was so mad he killed maybe the Winter? Like,
yeah, and like, what if he found out she died by Bucky? Like, how would that change their relationship?
Oh yeah. What if Wanda watched musicals instead of sitcoms? Oh, that's
How
pretty good.
would that affect WandaVision? It'd be
That shit would be like a
it'd be bigger. It'd be
Tyler
bigger.
Perry stage production. Everybody getting abused and
Yeah, like can we please stop? No.
What if Matt Murdock never went blind?
Yeah.
Okay.
Josh, do you have top of your head? Do you have any what if scenarios you want to see in season 3?
What if scenarios of season 3? I think the what if like Talo and Wakanda, what if they join forces, the two of the most powerful nations, what if they did that? That'd have been kind of interesting. Thinking about some of the new characters that we gotten so far, like what if Shang-Chi, what if his sister was the one that got the 10 rings and not him, and she fought the father?
That's a cool
That'd
one.
be good.
I like that one too.
Maybe do something with Kang. If you could do something with him, I wonder. Or are they just gonna completely like, okay, we don't know that motherfucker exists anymore. They're just gonna just completely distance themselves. Like, okay, we don't know him anymore. What else? What if Jane Foster stayed Thor? What if she stayed Thor instead of him? That's the only thing I can think of off the top of my head right
now. Our friend also at the top of his list. I'm not sure what they're referring to, but what if the Eternals interfered?
Yeah, what if they like? Because a lot of people complaining like, "Hey, why didn't you step in during slavery or World War II or any of this other stuff?" It's like, yeah, why weren't you there for any of that?
But out of all of them from that list on Twitter, what immediately jumped out to me and like was painting a picture in my head. What if Moon Knight met the God Butcher? What if Gore was on tour, slicing and dicing gods, and he made it to Khonshu, and Khonshu was like, "Oh, you have the Necro Blade," and he's like afraid of that because it can vanquish gods, but unfortunately for you, it won't be easy to take me down. I have an avatar, I have a warrior, I have a fist in the world of man who fights for me, and I can imagine Gore going for the blow to kill Khonshu, and then Cue the music. Da, 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 da. And here comes Moon Knight, like with his crescent moon daggers, blocks the thing, and like, and they have a cool fight. I think that'd be a really cool what if scenario.
Let me look at some of these replies here. So somebody said, instead, we're getting, in response to what this person did, it said, instead, we're getting, what if Hawkeye watched Transformers, or what if Tony ate cheeseburger? And then
It's
this
like,
person
this guy's a
says,
hater.
please God, no more Peggy Carter.
But why? Why?
Let's see. I've been trying to come up with one to redeem Dar-Benn, but I can't think of any. Dar-Benn was the villain of the Marvels movie. She deserves some justice. That was rough.
Not her fault. Not her
Yeah,
fault. There's no way an MCU movie is under 2 hours long. That's studio interference. That movie was chopped to bits. You can't blame the actors, dog. Come on.
yeah. This is a funny one. They say, "What if this franchise died and people wrote real stories again?" Wow.
Uh,
This person has some other what ifs. They say, "What if Hank Pym was the one stuck with Kang in the quantum realm?
Instead of
Uh,
Janet, that's a good one.
what if Hulk was on Earth for Civil War? What if Odin told Loki he was adopted as a child? What if Tony faced the real Mandarin? Okay, yeah, sure.
That's a good one. Go back to Civil War. What if Hulk and Thor were around for that? Whose side would be? Hulk would probably be with Iron Man because they're buddies,
Science
and
Bros.
yeah, Science Bros. And then Thor and Cap always have their banter on the battlefield together. So like as friends. So like on the battlefield, Thor and Cap are always friends. So like it would be Thor would be Team Cap, and Hulk would probably be Team Iron Man, and they'd be the only. Well, no, because Vision's there, so yeah, it'd be. There'd be some matches. There'd be some matches. It would be Wanda that takes on Vision, and Thor takes on Hulk because everyone else is like not as powerhouse as those guys.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you gave it a tune in for What If season 2?
Yeah, for sure. Even with the criticism and in my personal opinion, 2 weaker episodes. These are 7 great what if scenarios, and for sure tune in. If you like season 1, season 2 goes even bigger. So tune in for sure.
Yeah. You could do What If the Eternals introduce themselves to the Avengers? Maybe you could do that. Yeah, like they did.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, because I remember what's his name in it? The Richard Madden character, Icarus. He was like, what if I lead the Avengers? I don't know, I could do that. He's like, I could lead the Avengers, so maybe he does that.
They literally say he said well, I can do like did he say what if I did it, or did he say I could do it?
He said, yeah, he said I could do it. Yeah, he said,
Yeah, he said well I can do it. Yeah, yeah. So
because yeah,
that'd be cool. That'd be really cool.
yeah, with this, yeah, I think this is a slight improvement over season 2. I think you got a little bit more interesting stories. I think it is, like we said before, kind of restricted about the amount of, kind of maybe stories you can tell because you're kind of restricted with some of the characters. But I said you can expand. You got a lot of good characters. We're on phase 5 of this universe now. You can do America Chavez and Kamala Khan, more Shang-Chi stuff, more stuff from the Thor universe. Just expand it a little bit more with a lot of these other characters. But I give it kind of a stream it, I think, for that. Do you still like the animation style of this? It's kind of good for you.
Um, I got used to it. In season 1, I was like, okay, this looks a little cheap. They didn't want to put too much effort into this animated anthology show where they could have. We know what it looks like when Disney puts money into their animation. Like hair looks real, water looks real. You can feel the breeze, like Pixar and like movies like Encanto. I remember watching Encanto in theaters. I'm like, wow, like they keep Disney animation, even outside of Pixar, they keep getting better. And like their movies keep getting more and more crisp. And like it's clearly animated, but the detail they're getting is fantastic. What If doesn't have that, but I will say the action is still fantastic. But the animation, it's kind of. Did you ever watch MTV in the early 2000s? They had a Spider-Man show. They had an animated Spider-Man show, and it looked very PlayStation graphic. Like I'm not saying What If looks like that, but and I don't like calling it cheap, but you can tell if I'm watching it. It could be more, yeah. It could be heightened. It could,
Damn.
yeah, this, yeah. It could be more fluid. It could be sharper, but like um, for what it is, it works and it looks great. So
Hmm.
yeah.
So tune in and stream it for What If.